Remember what Mark Twain once said? You read, he says, if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. And I totally believe that. As far as the candidates are concerned, there's only one. That's Ron Paul. Now, you'd have asked me that a year ago, 2 years ago, I would have said, you're crazy to think that. But the more I watch Congress in action, the more I watch the Senate. Obama wanted a debt ceiling increase earlier this year. He's asking for his third one since then. He's got himself in a position, he wants another $1.2 trillion or something, bringing our national debt to over $16 trillion. Congress has 14 days to respond to his request. So he asks it when Congress won't be back for 17 days, because we're out of session. So in 14 days, Congress won't answer him, so he can just do it. But let's say Congress was in session, and Congress denied him. He can veto that, and now Congress has to have 2/3 of the vote to veto him back. We're done. He's going to print money and spend as much as he wants. So why would you want any other candidate but Ron Paul? I want you to imagine that there's riots in the street, but somebody just broke into your house with a gun. Are you going to be concerned about the riots in the street or the person in your house with a gun? You're concerned about both, but the person in the house with the gun is the more important one. Ron Paul's about giving us our freedoms back. He's about giving us our country back the way our founding fathers intended. Now, his views on foreign policy may be different from everybody else's, which is those people on the street that are rioting. But right now in our house, we're under siege. He can clean up the house first. That's why I think we need him now. He's the candidate we need now. I also think that if he's going to military and he's going to cabinet that he picks and he has the vice president stuff, I think any areas you believe he's weak in will be shored up by who he picks around him. So let him fix our house first. Look at the other candidates that are out there. You have Barack Obama, which the smartest thing that man could do would be to switch jobs with, have Biden switch jobs with Hillary Clinton, put Hillary Clinton as the vice president candidate, because then he'll win again. Or he won't do this because it's too bad for his ego, but have Hillary be the new representative for the Democratic Party, because she'll get those votes now and she'll win. But that won't happen. He might do the vice presidential switch, which will give him a lot more power. But you have him, who's destroying this nation. And it's apparent. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. If you're on his side, you know you're lying for him. Because nobody's that stupid. Nobody's that stupid. And has Barack Obama succeeded? Absolutely. He's done what he wanted to do. He said he's going to transform America, fundamentally transform it. He hung around people that wanted to destroy this nation. He grew up with the notion of destroying this nation, and he's done it. He's all but done it. Now we look at the Republican candidates, which, first off, are shoot-in. Take a look at Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's a stone-cold Democrat. He does stone-cold Democratic policies. He endorses them. And under the point of the gun, he's saying what's necessary to be elected as president of the United States under the Republican Party. Do I think he's a true conservative or libertarian? Absolutely not. I think he's saying what's necessary to be said to win the nomination. I think the Republicans are going to give it to him. And if you look at somebody like Rush Limbaugh or Ann Coulter, who I admire greatly, they're even in the tank. They're even saying that Romney's the guy. I don't know about Rush, but I know Ann Coulter is. I love Ann. I think she's fantastic. But you have Bill O'Reilly dismissing Ron Paul as if he's a nutcase. You have the media dismissing him as if he's a nutcase.
What do you think is the issue that holds all of these Republicans to Mitt Romney? I mean, what is their...
He's good looking.
Okay.
He's good looking. He's a good talker, and they feel that he looks the most like Reagan. Between him and Perry, who looks the most like Reagan? But Romney's a smoother talker than Perry is. That's why they're going with him. Newt Gingrich is a stone-cold progressive. He's been liberal progressive his whole life. He believes in globalism, global warming, a one-world government. One candidate has been beating the same drum for the last 20 years. Ron Paul. Beating the same drum. Has it veered left, has it veered right, has both sides against him. Now, if there's a Hegelian conspiracy...
He also has both sides for him.
Yes. If there's a Hegelian conspiracy, and there really is an illusion of two sides, and they're both doing the same thing, and both the left and the right don't want Ron Paul, well, that's the obvious choice for who we'd like. We'd have to be stupid not to know that. I don't trust the caucuses. I don't know if he's going to get a fair count. Watch the Iowa caucus last night, 1% of the vote in. He's 43%. Next flash, 15 minutes later, he's 23% of the vote. That was a big drop fast. So I'm hoping that everything's done on the up and up. But when both sides don't want somebody, how do they have a chance to get in there? Regardless of what we do. And my advice to everybody is everybody vote for him in all the primaries. Everybody vote for him. Let's see how they can fudge the numbers then. The more you want to depend on a government to take care of you, the more you have to give them control over your life. It's like, if you live under a person's roof, well, you got to play by their rules. They're supporting you. They put the roof over your head. They put the food in your mouth. They give you a place to sleep, right? So you got to live under their rules. Well, the same thing with the government. If you're not going to be a man and work for yourself, or a woman and work for yourself, you're going to want to accept. If you want to accept charity from the government, well, then they're going to rule over you, and they have every right to do it. The first thing is that they do not have the right to support you. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say the United States government, part of its job is to feed and clothe. Private companies regulate themselves. If they put something on the market that's harmful or detrimental, they're going to go out of business. People are going to see this and not going to buy the product. They're going to evolve and have invention after invention and a better mousetrap after better mousetrap just out of necessity. But when the government gets in and says they're going to buy your motor company because they don't like the way you're running it, or they're going to take over the banks because they don't like the way they're running it, or they're now going to run the utility companies, this is a hostile takeover of our lives. That's all it is. It's not there to protect you. Everything's labeled as something good, but it's not there to protect you. You cannot give up your freedoms looking for security because there's no such thing as security. There's no such thing as safety. It's an illusion. None of us are safe. The most dangerous thing to hurt you in your life is your own heart. One day it most likely will attack you. Well, what are we going to do? Remove our hearts now? Not going to work. You have more. There's more of a chance of you having a heart attack than there is of some terrorist getting you, than there is of you getting hit by a car or anything else. Because we're all going to die someday. There's no one's going to make it out alive. So why don't we enjoy our lives, live as free people, and do what's nice to benefit humanity? The National Defense Authorization Act there's our Fourth Amendment gone down the drain. That states that the military can now detain any United States citizen for any reason it deems fit, without any habeas corpus, any due process, any attorney. They don't need a reason. They come pick you off the street, detain you, and keep you forever. Is that what our founding fathers intended? And every congressman and senator that voted for this should be recalled. And President Obama signed it into law earlier this week. I think it's outright treasonous, just like everything else they're doing. There's treason in our nation, ladies and gentlemen. They're supposed to defend us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they're sworn to uphold the Constitution. They do neither. And yet nobody calls them on it. When you lie to Congress, it's a felony. They lie to you, it's politics. So while we're here and we're being stifled and destroyed, they're going after Gary Bonds whether or not he shot up with steroids in a baseball game. Do the math. One's relevant, one's irrelevant. It costs you a fortune to go into business. They won't just let you go into business now. You have to pay all kinds of licensing fees and business licenses and get permits. And you have to get approval from local governments who decided they're going to reign over your business. Then once you do or are allowed to run a business, everything is done to try to shut you down. They tell you who to hire, who you can hire, what you can do, what you can't do, what you can say, what you can't say. And I think it's wrong. I think you should be able to say, do whatever you want to do. It's your business. How can you tell me who to hire? They destroy businesses. They destroyed GM. Told GM how to run their company. GM listened and went down. So they went down, they took it over, and now they're going after other companies. You can't have this conflict of interest. I mean, Toyota with that gas pedal thing. Well, it's all a farce, but the government's all over them because they own GM. So the worse they can make Toyota look, the better GM does. I mean, you can't have this conflict. You can't have government owning anything. Government cannot fix anything, only destroy it. Look at this Department of Education. First department that should be abolished. We had a great school system in the United States. Department of Education got involved, and they put up this Department of Education, going to make everything better. It's much worse now than it ever was. Anytime you throw money in anywhere, what are you going to find? You're going to find corrupt people, greedy people with their hands going after that money. And those people aren't out there for anybody else's interest but themselves. I think a lot of people say that the Republicans were actually the liberal ones years ago, and the liberals were actually the conservative ones years ago. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it at all. I think it's the liberals now trying to claim victories that conservatives had. Oh, the Republicans freed the slaves? Oh, wait a minute. No, they didn't. It was us. They were the other people. They'll change the words of everything. You look in the 60s, all the darn Democrats that were for segregation, putting the black people down, having whites only places, blacks only places. Now the Democrats are saying, well, yeah, they were Democrat in name only. It was really conservatives. The liberals are on the Republican side. That's a bunch of bull. They're trying to say Barry Goldwater or Ronald Reagan back in the early 60s and stuff were Democrat. No, listen to their speeches. Look at what they talked about. It was the same premises as today.
To claim it, yeah. As if it could only come from one side or the other, and not just from what's right.
Absolutely. Republicans were formed to get rid of slavery. One of the main reasons Republicans came into place. The only party that's done the most to help the black race out in history has been the Republicans. The Democrats have done everything they could to destroy them. They gave them affirmative action to give them positions they didn't earn so that they could fall back on their face and be dependent on the government. You know, politicians painted it as we're standing up for the blacks. In actuality, what they were doing is making them fail. How stupid do you have to be not to know this?